Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Lovely to be here. Lovely to feel all your energy. It's nice. We feel like we haven't done anything live for a while, so it's really fun to have some members of our community gathering and seeing where you're all from again, and like new faces and old and not old. Well, maybe some. So yeah, you feel free to say where you're coming in from. We've got Rosy here and Sally.
Hello. Oh, it's so nice to see everybody from all over. Yeah. South Africa, Switzerland, Ashland, Belgium, Costa Rica, Devon, your neighbor.
It's funny how when you say that, they all start putting where they're from and then it speeds up. You're like, ah! Oh, so nice.
Albuquerque. Oh, Lenny.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us anyway, everyone. We're going to start by showing you the dream arc without words, a little video. It's about 5 minutes or so. And we're just going to play it and we can all watch it together. And then, then we'll launch in. So hope you enjoy this. If you haven't, you may have seen this already, but if you haven't, it's kind of sweet. You may have seen this already. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Rosie, for creating that amazing pastiche. Sometimes, just seeing the word, not hearing the words is like you get a direct kind of feeling and an energy. And, we're here to introduce and kind of officially launch the Dream Arc really today. And it's taken a long time. It's a 3-year project, more than that, actually. And it's just been a vast thing to create. And it's a huge thing you're going to see and get a sense of it. And ultimately, as we share it today, there's, we're going to have a call, invite you. The call's going to go on for a full 90 minutes, but there's going to be a kind of little rest at 60 minutes where if you need to go, you can. But the last 30 minutes is going to be Q&A, and we're going to interact. And then at the very end, we're going to give you a little dream tale about a turtle, a little thing we're going to show you. So if you want to hang on, if you can hang on for the full 90 minutes, then please do, because then you'll get the complete thing. But if you need to go, I know sometimes people need to, then that's also fine. So how to encompass in words something that is really only going to be understood through doing it. That's what our challenge is today. So I'm going to begin just by giving you just a few tiny things that I could say about the Dream Arc, and there's lots more you can get. There's a lot more information you can read from the website and through the portals that are available. Essentially, I want to say, like, the Dream Arc is about, one of the things you'll see is about invitations, many inspiring invitations, and those invitations really stretch you. They stretch you in lots of different ways, and so it's full of surprises in that way. And you're going to see some examples hopefully later in the call of some of the kind of things that maybe people could share, some of the things that people who are in the course are doing, and myself, I also have some things to share. The other thing I want to say about the course is it has an amazing navigation system, which we're going to showcase a little bit today. It's built really for the right brain. You may have heard that. It's a right brain program, this. And so it uses a map and this incredible navigation using a lot of symbols, which the right brain kind of loves to use symbols, because then it's not all linear and like you're looking at words and trying to understand them. You're going straight into the kind of core intelligence, the wisdom of the body that's reading things. So the course in that way is filled with tricks and traps and all kinds of surprises. It's also a program that is completely unique for everyone. Like if you're into the Gene Keys and you've done some of my other programs, you'll see that they have a linear style, a format. You follow them through, and it's clear. This one is not like that. Only the very beginning is like that. But after that, you're going into the wilderness, and you're finding your own way, following the symbols, following your right brain, finding your own pace, and developing your own rhythm and your own unique adventure. And so two people going through the course, even starting at the same time, are going to move through completely different pathways because it's so rich. And even if you did it again the second time, you're going to have a completely different experience because you'll be moving again through different pathways that your right brain is following and clicking on, and experiences that are coming up for you. So that's one thing, is you're going to develop your own rhythm. And finally, my last thing is it's about our intuition. It's all about honing our intuition. And you may think you already have a good intuition, and perhaps you do, you're very attuned to it, but this is a workout, a full-on workout for our intuition. And as we hone our intuition through this program, that's going to come across really powerfully to the rest of our lives, because when you develop a muscle really powerfully, that this program does, it really spills over into everything else in your life. And you're going to find that your life changes in lots of different ways because of the clarity that starts to come through your intuition in your everyday life. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to hand over to Rosie. I'll speak to you in a minute.
Thank you, Richard. That was just wonderful. And hello, everybody. As you know, my name is Rosy, and together with Richard, the beautiful, wise sage, Sally, the inspiring voyager, who's going to be introducing herself to you very soon, and Elijah, the magical wizard. I just want to give a shout out to him because you can't see him right now, but without him, none of this would be possible. I have the honor of being the DreamArc's first and extremely human guide. And I have to say that one of my biggest honors of all as guide has been the opportunity to collaborate with and shine a light on so many inspiring people. The DreamArc has been blessed with, I don't know, over 120, 130 wonderful, talented, generous human beings who've offered their stories, their wisdom, their art, their music, their poetry, their sacred performances, healing practices, and guidance to all of us who feel called to take this journey. And some of our most cherished contributors are Indigenous wisdom keepers from around the world, each representing different lineages and traditions and bringing profound perspectives on the very challenging times that we are all living in, and how we can lovingly and courageously rise up to meet these times and remember who we are and why we've come here in the first place. So I just want you to know that these wisdom keepers and all of our featured contributors are waiting for you to discover them, to engage with them, to connect them with your communities, if and however your spirit feels a yes. So I also really want to highlight that the DreamArc isn't a normal course. I think Richard has already said that. It's a living, expanding, compassionate community. It's a real village. And we hope that you're going to feel called to join us, and especially to join each other. We've got forums inside of the course that are coming alive as we speak. And soon, later this summer, we're going to start hosting a series of regular online gatherings or Dream Pod calls for DreamArc participants, giving us even more opportunities to meet each other, share our experiences, our creative expressions, and build connections, both online and in our own smaller local communities. That's a real vision that we're holding. So what else do I do as a guide? Well, I love to give a lot of permission, right? It's one of my favorite things to do. So if you hop on the DreamArc boat, you're going to find me in all kinds of places, encouraging you to explore, to experiment, trust your intuition, break the rules, get lost, get found, get off the computer and out into the great outdoors, and to stretch yourself beyond your comfort zone. And I love extending invitations so much that I thought I would extend one right now to everyone here and ask you to just take a moment and think about one animal that you feel a special connection to. And then write that animal down in the chat. It could be an animal that you have a direct relationship with in your waking life, like a pet or a bird that just built a really sweet little nest outside your window, or maybe even a tattoo on your arm. It could be an animal that's appeared in your dreams, or a creature that lives in your imagination. Maybe you feel a real kinship with this animal, like you're part of the same family, or like you're protected by this animal, or you just find it fascinating for some reason. And let's just look on the, oh wow, we're getting lots of comments here. So I'm just going to read some of the things I'm saying. I see an owl, a swallowtail, a toucan, a dolphin, bee, butterfly, red-tailed hawk, Exter, ooh, hummingbird, dragons, oh good, we've got the imaginal ones, the sloth, dolphin, cardinal, bull, oribus, elephant, lion, caterpillar, butterfly. So just take a moment to acknowledge that we're not just a group of humans who've gathered together for this, never to be repeated event. We're totally together with animals. We're bringing them along with us wherever we go, whether we know it or not. So let's just say hello to all of the kindred spirits who are here with us and for us, infusing our experience with all of their loving and powerful and silly and strange and protective qualities. So now it is my total pleasure and honor to introduce you to our brave, creative, and open-hearted voyager, Sally Middleton. So Sally, do you want to share about yourself and the special role that you play in the DreamArc?
Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, so, I had the real pleasure of being the first voyager with the DreamArc resources. So as we began, or as Richard and Rosie began creating them, and, you know, like recording transmissions and Rosy's riffs and all sorts of stories. And we started to gather in some of the contributor art and music, and dream tales, I began my own journey. And it was a little lonely, I'll be honest, because I went kind of 6 months on my own with this. And it was wonderful. It was very rich. And I was synthesizing lots and lots of wisdom inside my daily life, you know, and I really mean that. I was living away from home. I wasn't in my own space. I, you know, had all sorts of things going on in my extended family. And I was really busy working. So it was a really powerful journey. And I really had the opportunity to play with the resources. And out of that, I began to develop the stories. So if you join in the course, you will come across my Sally stories in some of the categories. I still haven't worked through all of them, but you can kind of get to experience some of my real life adventure, right? Challenges, joys, tears, fears, the whole thing. So I really hope you, you know, enjoy them. And I really hope they kind of inspire your own journey and help you get started, because what I've experienced for myself and with others, it can be a little tricky just to begin. Like, where do I begin and how do I begin to synthesize? So, you know, there's a little bit of guidance from me too. So, and what else? I think that's probably the main thing I wanted to share today. But what I do want to do is move on to giving you a taste of the course, right? So are you happy with that, Richard, Rosy? Okay, so this is our next step. This is a little look under the hood, if you like, to see what the course is about. So I'm going to take a moment to share my screen. And Rosy, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add while I do that.
Only that I really hope people check out your stories, Sally. I have learned so much, and you're such an incredible synthesizer. So I just want to acknowledge you and say that I love you.
Thank you, Rosy.
That's all I want to say.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, you know, we understand that a lot of you that are here may have been inside a lot of our courses, and you'll be familiar with this platform that we use. And but some of you may be new, so it may be the first time of seeing this. So our intention here is to just touch in on some of the categories and modules and give you a little flavor. So I'm kind of on the controls. Richard and Rosy are going to speak about certain pieces, and I will do my best to navigate. And I would really just, again, like to honor Elijah, because, you know, without Elijah and his talented team, this course wouldn't be what it is. And on the surface, you're kind of looking at this linear list, but when you start diving in to some of the sections, you will just go down lots of little wormholes that are really, really fascinating. But the key thing to know is there's a lot of navigation to bring you right back to where you start. So there's no worries about getting lost. Okay, so we're going to begin with the terrain. So I'm going to hand over to Rosy here.
Okay. And everybody can hear me okay? Okay. So, yeah. So even though as you get in there, everyone starts going in their own direction, we all start in the same place. And this is the terrain. This is the place where you get the lay of the land. And I'm going to not get into too many details now, but I can say that in this section, you're going to learn about the dream arc approach and how discovery, playfulness, trust, and generosity lie at the very, very heart of the dream arc adventure in our growing community. And you're going to learn how this journey really is asking us to stretch and evolve and to bring out our inner children, to practice kindness towards ourselves, each other, and the natural world, to honor diversity and unity simultaneously, and to surrender to the wild, loving, living wisdom of life. Now, in this section, you're also going to be introduced to the Dream Arc Codex with its 192 animals, its 12 categories or quests, with its fear, life, and vision keys, which Richard is going to be sharing more about in just a little bit. You're going to learn about how each animal in the Codex is actually intuitively partnered with 2 other creatures, and you'll learn about mythical influences and so much more. And just so you know, all of the 192 animal codex images are provided in PDF files for DreamArc journeyers, so they can be printed and cut out and played with like a real deck of cards for those who feel inspired to use the codex in that way. And in this introductory section, you'll also learn about the origin of the DreamArc, how it all came to be, what it is, what it isn't, as well as how it's connected to the gene keys, which for those of you who haven't heard of the gene keys before, is this enormous synthesis of universal knowledge and wisdom brought to this world by our dear beloved Richard, who's here with us. And finally, you'll learn about dreaming and dream technology, and you're going to receive some tips about how to cultivate and enhance your relationship to dreaming as you embark upon and move through your journey. So, Richard, do you want to share something about the 3 realms and more about the Animal Codex, your amazing creation?
Yes, definitely. You know, the 3 realms are, you know, they're an old shamanic way of looking at the universe, and they're actually they're actually at the core of most mythical societies or indigenous groups, and actually in most of the major religions as well, are these, in different forms, are these 3 levels or layers, and they're also reflected in our kind of consciousness, you know, with the unconscious being the base one, or the lower world, or the underworld as it's sometimes called. And in our program, these are represented by the fear keys, which are 64 creatures that live in the underworld. So they're like reptiles, insects, they're more primitive creatures, fish, you know, these things that crawl and creep and bite and sting, and sometimes, you know, we're really afraid of them, and other times they're really irritating to us, some of them. And so each one of those represents a fear and a journey into fear, into the underworld of the unconscious. And then we have the middle realm, and those of you who know the gene keys will recognize this. You know, you have the shadows, and then you have the gifts, and the middle realm is the mammal realm. And we humans are mammals, of course. So the mammal realm is all about, you know, it's the 64 animals that mammals represent. These are obviously there are a lot more than 64 mammals on our planet, but these are the ones that have perhaps have the strongest lineages around the planet, and creation stories or myths or legends or meanings that are really, or resonance globally with many of us. And so those are the life keys, and they represent in a way the middle consciousness of, you know, our gifts, you know, what gifts lie hidden in our fears. And then the top one, the upper world, these are called the vision keys. And the vision keys are all represented by the birds, the bird realm. And so the birds have this kind of, they bring gifts from the future into the present of the middle world, and then back into the past, the ancestry of the lower world. And so there's this incredible connection with time and lineage and ancestry and vision and meaning and purpose that lies hidden in the codex of all those creatures. So we're going to explore them later, but that gives you a basic kind of grid of what underpins some of the underpinning of this program. Over to you. Who is it next? Rosy.
Is it me? Am I supposed to talk about the life web?
Yes, the life web is
next on the agenda.
Okay, we're trucking along here. There's so much, we could just go on and on. But thank you, Richard, for that. And so the next thing, or the last thing in the terrain section we want to introduce you to before we dive into the quest section, which contains all the 12 modules or categories that journeyers move through, is the life web. And there's also the galactic dreamweaver, the spider that Sally is going to touch on a little bit later. But I'm going to focus just on the life web right now. So let's see, is it all pulled up? Sally, want to pull up the life web while I talk about it a little bit? Okay, so if you decide to enter the dream arc and you're totally unique and ever evolving life web is going to play a huge role in your journey. So like one way to think about the web is that it's a sacred container or like an alchemical vessel that you intuitively create and then continue to use, add to, and build upon as you kind of move along your journey and gather empowering and insight bringing clues along the way. And another way to see it is to see it as an actual process that you go through, both with others and on your own. And this process is really here to support you in diving deep into a whole world of symbols and animals and dreams and themes and synchronicities. So while everybody's free to do what feels intuitively right for them, we do encourage people who are into it to find a way to concretize or create some kind of physical life web or altar that they can use throughout their journey. Some people create their life webs out of natural objects. Others are using the resources that we provide in the course, or some combination of both. And Sally's going to share something about her own process, which I think you'll find really impressive and inspiring. So as you can see in this image, the life web contains 12 creature categories, each corresponding to the 12 modules or quests in the dream arc journey. And as you move through each module of the course in your own rhythm, order, according to your own intuition, you're going to be choosing certain animals that belong to that category, or the animals will be choosing you. And each of the animals will be offering you its power and is going to actually come alive inside of you in your life and become a guide. So think of it like one by one, category by category, you're calling in this inner council or constellation of creatures who are going to populate, inform, and bring this life web to life and bring your life to life. So really quick, I'm just going to go over, at least name the categories, because they do capture the larger overarching themes that you're going to be working with as you move through your journey. So Sally, could you start by pointing to the guardian symbol, the turtle, and then just kind of follow and hover over the symbols while I'm talking? I think I've got it in the right order. Okay. So going clockwise. So everybody's encouraged to start with the guardians and to choose or be chosen by one guardian whose role is going to be to protect and hold our deepest intentions throughout our entire journey. And Richard's going to share about his own experience finding his guardian soon, which is an extremely wonderful story, and I can't wait to hear it. So once we've initiated our journey with the guardians through ritual, we then travel through the rest of the modules in our own order. But let me just go around the life web, even though the journey is not going to go in that order for you. Okay, so just before the guardians are the unifiers. And the unifier that you end up with is going to be the perfect animal you need to feel much more connected, like connected to yourself, connected to the natural world, connected to the people around you, even when it isn't easy. And these days, that's more important than ever. Your dreamer is going to support you in activating your imagination and gleaning wisdom and pearls from your dreams. Your messenger is going to just open you up to receiving the exact messages that you need exactly when you need them. The changer that you're drawn to is going to help you navigate the very big and some of the even small changes in your life and in the world with an open, courageous, and trusting heart. Your trickster will likely come in an unexpected way, and it's going to wake you up where you've been asleep and give you exactly what you need, even if it isn't exactly what you thought you wanted. And then comes your hunter, your warrior, your laugher, your leaper, your journeyer, and your healer. So you get the idea. So Sally, I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share a clip from your life web video where you show people how you've used the resources that we provide in the course to bring your own life web and journey to life, just to give people like a sense of what's possible. And again, just everybody know that there's so many ways to do this. Richard, for example, has not created a concrete life web, although he's found other organic, natural, impermanent, and creative ways to acknowledge the life web in his journey. And that is just perfectly wonderful. You know, different strokes for different folks. That's what the Dream Arc is all about. Okay, Sally, take it away.
Thank you, Rosie. So here is a story that I've put together about my how I brought my life web together from the very beginning. And I particularly focused on using the resources that we have available in the course, just to give you a sense of where some of you can get started. Okay, so this is 10 minutes long, but all I'm going to do is play about 2.5 minutes. So I will stop it at some point so we can move on, but it will just give you a flavor. Okay.
Welcome. Here I share about my cosmic life web journey, and my images reflect the journey so far, and my sincere hope is they will simply help to get you started. They demonstrate creative ways to bring your life web into the heart of your daily life and to be an inspiration for your own explorations. One of my first tasks was to set up a sacred space, an altar where I could ground my process and gather the many creatures and symbolic objects that I would meet along the way. My life web has become more than my altar space. It's now a rich sacred container that represents the weave of my creative expression. It's a reflection of life itself. It holds my edges, my fears, and my tears, as well as my joy, love, and medicine. It's become a physical expression of qualities I now embody more fully. So I'd like to cover a couple of questions, but first I will start on a practical note. You'll see that I've been experimenting with the foundational resources that we've provided here in the course. As Rosy mentioned, there are PDF documents containing these images for you to print out. At the start, they really helped me to get my process grounded. So if you're unsure of where to begin, then start with these. You'll see I printed out the life web and the tree that represent the 3 realms. I printed them in different sizes to explore what would work best for me given the flexibility I needed. So let me explain a little more about this. When I took on the role of journeyer, I felt concerned that I wouldn't be living in my own home and had doubts about doing this process justice, given that I didn't have a stable space to dive into the creative or magical realms in ways I would normally. I knew I'd be moving around quite a bit for 6 months, so I immediately had to think outside of the box. I wanted some way of creating a travelling altar space, so this was my first challenge and an indication of what was to come. I was anxious and procrastinating because these thoughts were getting in the way of me starting. I had to surrender, trust my intuition and my common sense. So I decided to turn to Spider, who weaves the web behind the scenes. She was already inviting me to reflect on a tangle I had in my mind about how to approach this project. I was facing my first practical dilemma.
Wonderful, Sally. God, don't people want to watch the rest of it? I know I do. And I want to say that my daughter, Maya, she's almost 19 years old. She has really enjoyed Sally's stories and found them to be so permission giving because she's also traveling a lot right now. And she's totally into the dream arc. And it's just so fun to watch her create her portable, expanding Dream Arc Life Web, thanks to Sally and her inspiration. So Sally, are you ready to bring us into the Guardians? Or do you need a little? Yes,
I will do. I just need to navigate my screen again.
It's a lot to do all at the same time. And we're on Zoom, but we also have YouTube over here so we can watch the chat. And I'm just learning how to do this. Sally and Richard have a little more experience, but this is
all doing incredibly well.
Oh, it is fun too to see people are responding. Yeah, great.
Okay, can you see this?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So do you want to say something first, Sally, or should I just talk about the buttons?
I think you carry on, Rosie. It's good.
Okay, so as we said, each module that represents one of the categories is going to be a journey and quest in its own right. So you could really spend like a month or more on each one of these. Now, if you follow the maps that we've provided, like the one you're looking at right now, you're going to see that even though each category is different, they each include 6 essential steps. So that first button on the left is the Explore the Habitat button. And this is where you'll receive a profound, inspiring teaching from Richard, our sage, about the theme of the category. And you'll see a little Rosy's riff there from me as well. Try to tie in themes from the category, what's happening in my life and in the world, and help you make the most of your quest. And then the second button, or step in every journey, is the Find Your Animal button. And the way you and your animal find each other is going to be different in each category. So there's often going to be an element of playfulness or surprise to the process. One time, Luna, the oracle dog, and you saw that in the trailer or in the initial look inside video that we shared with you. And if you didn't see it, there literally is a dog oracle that will be choosing animals for you. And another time you might get the chance to listen to the sounds of all the animals in a particular category and then choose the sound that speaks to you the most. And then that's how you find your animal. But what matters most is that every time you enter a new module, you're going to be invited to form a special relationship with at least one of the animals or creatures that belong to that category. Now, the third button is the Dive In button. And if you choose this button, you're probably going to open a window and see a bunch of other buttons to click on. This is that right brain part of the course where it's all visual. So remember, this is all about your trusting your intuition and only choosing the buttons or the experiences that you're meant to have. So there might be 9 dive-in invitations or buttons in a category, but maybe you just choose one, and that's totally fine. So you might click on a dive-in button and find yourself exploring an animal and its 2 trio partners in the codex, or the overarching theme of the particular category that you're in. Or you might click a button and find yourself inside watching an inspiring video, or building an altar, or writing in your journal, or playing with a kid, or hanging out with your pet, or watching a funny movie, or cooking a healthy meal for yourself or a group of friends. Or you could click a button and find yourself outside watching the sunrise, or hugging a tree, or walking a labyrinth, or holding a new moon ritual, communing with an ancestor or an elder in your life who you respect and love, or sharing stories around a campfire, or traveling to a place you've never been to, or getting involved in a meaningful cause with an inspiring organization. So the opportunities are literally endless. And the best part is that you're going to be in charge, or your intuition is going to be in charge of choosing and surrendering to the invitations and experiences that feed your soul the most, whether they relax you or inform you or thrill you or stretch you. Now, the fourth button is the Receive Some Inspiration button. And this is where you're going to find our wonderful Wisdom Keeper guests, as well as our gifted and generous featured contributors. And in a few minutes, we'll actually click on the button so you can have a look inside. And then the fifth button is the Expand Your Circle button. This step takes you to the DreamArc forum for the category that you're in, where you can share with other people your experiences and insights and animals and expressions and dreams. And that is just, I got to tell you, right now, we've got some of the most active, creative, and passionate people in our forum sharing things that are so inspiring. So I can't wait for people who feel drawn to this to go in there and start participating. And just so you know, each animal actually has its own forum. And finally, we've got that sixth Reveal Your Next Quest button, and it marks the final stage in each module where you get to find out which category or next DreamArc frontier is calling you. So the process of finding out what your next category is fun and it's intuitive. It's often oracular and surprising. It may involve the people in your life. And remember, once you've initiated your journey with the Guardians, your path is going to be completely unique. No 2 journeys or no 2 journeyers are going to follow the same path. And I think that's all I have to say about those buttons. So Richard, do you want to take us deeper inside and maybe share your story about how you found your Guardian?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm aware of the time, so I'm going to be really, really brief because there's there's a video that you can watch. It's actually on YouTube. It's probably underneath this one where I go into it in more depth. But in a nutshell, you know, it's completely unique to each person, as Rosy said, and the whole process of this is completely unique. You can't really make a wrong click, you know, and it may be that you open up an invitation to do something and you just think, oh, I don't want to do that, and so you just change your mind and you go and do another one, and you choose the one that feels right. Or you might be the kind of person that goes, I picked that for a reason, I'm going to go for that. Right. Anyway, so this is the entrainment of permission, inner permission. It's really powerful in our life to working that muscle. So for me, very quickly, you know, I didn't know which guardian to pick. I'd read them all, I looked at them all, I wrote them all, you know. So, you know, I've written out this whole codex. You'll see in a minute. And Rosy's done all these beautiful pieces of artwork for every creature that she's drawn or painted, that you see here. So I didn't know what to do. So I kind of just made a pact with myself. Right, I'm going out for a walk. And when I come back, I'm having my guardian. That's it. I just decided. So I went out for a walk, went as far as I was going to go, stopped, paused, looked down at my feet, saw this bit of wood, and that was really beautiful, actually, like an old root. And I thought, and I was really drawn. I was just holding it. I just picked it up and I was like, oh my God, that's a crocodile, you know, and it actually looks exactly, and it has the texture of a crocodile as well. And so I thought, that's my guardian. I've come back with this piece of wood. Here it is, all the way from America to the UK. It's my crocodile. And so that's how I began. It was as simple as that. Like, but every one of us is going to have our own way. And there's all kinds of gimmicks and tricks and toys, as Rosy said, in the system. Or we can just go pure, you know, off grid into the world, choose in that way, or literally it comes to us through a dream, you know. So that was how I got mine, and that set me off on my journey. And there it is in the codex. You open up the codex, and you can go down a bit, Sally, and there's a lot of guidance and the influences and the meaning and the contemplation for each creature, and so you get to really explore, you know, what that creature means and what it represents. You know, the crocodile is the fear of chaos, right? So it's a fear key. So I know that my entire journey through the dream arc, however long it lasts, and I can tell it's going to last at least a year, you know, just from the feeling of it, that's going to be this year's one of the deep fears that I'm working on, deep collective fear of chaos and what happens, you know, with chaos. And I'll probably be speaking to that. And I imagine my work will be flowing from that in some way, because that's how the dream arc works. It just reflects back to us what's already going on in our lives. So when Rosy, you said, oh, you go into the tricksters and or you go into the messengers, the creature that you choose out of those 15 or 20 creatures is going to be exactly the gift or the fear or the vision that you need for that point in your life, because stuff's going to be coming up and you're going to need exactly that one you've chosen and its gift and its teaching to get you, to help you navigate that, you know, synchronistic experience. That's the really important thing I wanted everyone to know here, that this is a magical course. You know, it's truly magical. You know, I know I'm in it now, having created it, I'm now in it. And so and many others as well. And we're experiencing that kind of magical realm that comes out of, you know, really having that child's mind. Yeah. So.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. So, you know, earlier Rosy shared all the different steps. And so, you know, as we've just demonstrated here, when you come into the guardians and you choose your animal, you then have the option to, you know, visit more of the guardians, go into the dive-in, receive inspiration, go into the forum for the crocodile, or you even go back to the codex. So from here, you can navigate further. But what we're going to do now, Rosy, is receive some inspiration, for you to take us through.
Yeah.
Briefly.
I think that would be great, just to show people what's in there so they get a little flavor. We'll just do it real quick. So this is the village aspect of the dream arc. So when you come in, we start with these beautiful messages, and the first one that will be highlighted will be one of our wisdom keepers. This is Grandmother Sasa, Swan of the North. And if you remember to click those little buttons like Sally's doing, you'll see other videos highlighting highlighting themes that we feel are really connected to the particular category. And here we're talking about the guardians, right? So right below that, we've got our dream tales. These are stories coming from people in our community, friends, family, people who have had animal encounters or dreams about animals. And they're shared. That one is my husband's. So these are amazing. And we really hope that you enjoy these dream tales. They're so inspiring, and it's been one of my biggest pleasures. Then in every category, we feature a musician. This is a beautiful musician that we know and love, Marsha Lefferts and Melanie Hutton. And then we have visual artists. And on each of the Receive Some Inspiration page, you'll see all these artists. And so, Sally, why don't you click on the beautiful, yeah, that one, the turtle. That's made by Janice Brandt. And notice that underneath the image, you click on that link and it will take you to a page that will tell you about the artist. It will show you more of their work. Yeah, you just kind of scoot down, and yes, this is a beautiful video that she allowed us to share, and a bio, and it shows her URL. And then you can just click on one of those buttons, either back to the Dream Arc or Learn More page, and that's it. So there, you will be so inspired by who's here. And I just want to say that anybody who does this journey, if you receive a pearl of wisdom or inspiration from our contributors or wisdom keepers, which is likely to happen, we really encourage you to go the extra mile and share your appreciation. So someone might be involved in service or earth-based or humanitarian work that you feel really drawn to. Reach out to them, ask how you can support them, get involved. Because as you've already gathered, trusting in and acting on our own passionate and compassionate impulses is a huge part of what the Dream Arc is all about. Okay, so shall we move on to the
Brilliant, let's do it.
part?
How's everyone doing? I hope you're all okay, because we've
Yeah.
kind of given you all that like dump now, and
I know. It's been a lot.
we're not going to dump any more on you.
No, now we're going to hear from you, or now we're going to ask you to have a little experience. So I hope you're ready. Okay. So we want to just give you a little taste of how powerful something very simple, a very simple exercise can be. So just like take a moment to just connect with yourself. You know, you've been so generous in following all of our talking and demonstrating up until now. So now it's time to just take a couple of deep, kind of relaxing breaths. And just drop in. You know, you can close your eyes if that feels right, or just soften them. And once you feel relatively calm and centered, just take one moment to ask yourself, what is the biggest challenge that you are facing in your life at this time? Or a challenge that feels significant to you in some way. And trust whatever comes. Remember, the Dream Arc is all about trusting. So what is a challenge that I'm really facing right now? And once you have a sense, an intuitive sense of what that challenge is, either open your eyes or bring your vision back into focus. And this is our invitation to you. That's that you take the next 2 minutes, and we mean literally 2 minutes, and notice the very first animal that you encounter. So you might want to walk around the room or scan your environment as you move through the space around you. Just let your eyes fall upon an animal. You might spot an animal on a book cover or in a magazine. It might be outside your window or on a picture on your wall or on your computer screen. It could be a stuffed animal or a design pattern on a tablecloth, or you might see your pet cat or dog just sitting on your sofa, or might actually be sitting on your lap right now. And even if you don't spot an animal in your environment, but I have a feeling you will, see if you can just let one pop into your awareness within the next 2 minutes. And if one doesn't easily pop into your awareness, then just make one up on the fly. Trust your imagination and know that whatever your animal it is, you acknowledge it to yourself, and then come back to your computer or phone or whatever device you're using right now in literally 2 minutes or less. And we will be waiting for you. Okay.
Okay, people are beginning to share them.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. It's amazing. People are already finding animals. So do you think we should go? This has been like a little less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
fine.
we'll just keep on moving along. Okay. So this is so awesome that it's already happening. And for everyone who's here, we just want to ask you to take a moment to contemplate why this animal, out of all the possible creatures in the entire world, why is this animal appearing in your life right now as you contemplate one of your challenges? You know, what associations do you have with this animal? What does it mean to you? Is it a mystery to you? How does it make you feel? Is there any way you can imagine it supporting you or providing you with guidance or role modeling or an intuitive insight or a message in relation to the particular situation that you're facing in your life right now? And again, we really want you to trust whatever comes. And even if nothing comes right now, trust that an answer is going to come eventually, maybe even in a dream. So for those of you who feel inspired, and some of you are already doing it, just share the kind of animal that came to you in the chat. And then if you have a first intuitive hit about why this animal of all animals has come to you right now, just share 2 or 3 words in the chat about that as well. Okay, so let me just see if I'm going to pull up my YouTube so I can see what, okay, so we've got a cat. We've got a moving, oh,
We've got a
moving
deer, which is about staying in one's heart.
Yeah, keep going. Cat.
Soften my approach like a bunny. I love that.
You want to do it, Richard? Read what you see.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Tiger, regal, confident, and strong. Nice one, Lynn. You're going too fast now. Phoenix, alchemical. Humpback whale, freedom and self-navigating. Butterfly, transformation. Jellyfish, floating mystically. Dog likes to be around people. Owl, sharing its wisdom. Robin, gentleness. Need to be gentle with myself. Coyote, life is what happens when you're busy making plans. Elephants all over the house. Large, strong, peaceful, loyal. I mean, these are really like, again, like take it deep into your being, take it into your heart. You know, like what is why is that come? Why is that? You know, this was a fun, cute little exercise, but actually the unconscious has a funny way of serving up exactly what you need if you're paying attention. So what is your need right now, you know, for that? So great. Thank you so much, everyone. And go on contemplating those, you know, because it's that's the kind of nature of the dream arc. That's how it operates. That's how we use it. And then you would go into that creature in a lot more depth and hang out with it really and contemplate it over time and its gifts, and more gifts may come, and then you may really need them. So yeah, it's a nice start. It gives you a little flavor of what this is about. Should we just do the oracle, because that's like our other fun thing we wanted to share with you guys?
That's the moment, Richard. So I have it on the screen.
Cool.
Yeah, so shall I?
Yeah, share the screen, please, Sam.
You're gonna take us into it, right?
Yeah, totally.
In a nice.
Yeah, so we thought what would be really nice to do, because in the dream arc there's a really cool oracle system. There's lots of oracles, actually. You heard about the dog oracle, and there's also a sloth oracle, which is lots of things for slowing down and kind of giving you pausing as part of your practice, and that pops up throughout the program, by the way. Lots of little resources and meditations and bits of music and journeys and imaginative things. So the dream arc oracle, you can use it in lots of different ways. You can choose from any of the categories. If you go down a bit, Sal, you could show them some of the ways in which it works. You can choose from the 3 worlds. There's lots of ways. You can choose a life key, a vision key, so a bird. You can choose a mammal. You know, lots of ways of doing it. But if you go up to the main one, that's the full oracle. That's 192 creatures. So what we thought we'd do here is just for fun, like this is our kind of official launch day. I know we soft launched the dream arc already, but today is like, it's our day of like doing it. We're going to we'd love everyone to just throw their energy in here. There's 499 of you, of us, like, And we're just going to put all our energy and our focus into initiating the dream arc, its birth, its launch. And then we're going to ask the oracle to give us an animal or a creature or, something from the codex that's going to represent the beginning of the dream arc. And therefore we'll stay with the dream arc forevermore, because it's the one that's going to initiate us. And how is it going to initiate us? We have no idea. It's open to the fates. So if you just take a few moments, maybe put your hand on your heart, all of us, just tune in and just, open up to that cosmic intelligence, and throw the doors of your heart open. It's just an experiment. That's it. We don't need to spend any longer than that. Just a moment to tune in. And then we ask Sally to just consult the oracle. Click that little bird there and see who comes to visit us. The rhino. Okay. Rhino. What do you think that means? Like, what is it? If you're into the gene keys, then you know that every creature also represents a gene key. So rhino, I think it's gene key 38. And it's you can open up that one, Sally, thanks. And it's a mammal, right? So it's a life key. So it's about the mammal. Life keys are all about connection and humanity. And this is gentle, the life key, gentle perseverance, So that kind of tells us, I guess, a lot about how the dream arc would like to begin, how it would like to go out into the world, how we might like to work with it, and give it the time and give it the space to grow inside our lives. I mean, this is one of the things that I'm learning with this program. It's very different from anything else I've ever done. It's going to go along in the background of our lives. So as you enter into it, it's going to be quite at times where it might be a bit quiet, and then times where it's going to come up and you're going to really need it. But it's going to be there for some time. It's a deep, deep, deep course, and it's long. So it might be there it might be there for a year or even 2 years or 18 months or something because if you're taking your time, you're going to move through it at your own pace. And the rhino's kind of about that. I am Rhino. Fortunate are you to have called me in now from the great pantheon of creatures, for I am a powerful changer. So one of the changers, bind yourself to me and you'll find your life changing with great speed. Decide on a single area or issue in your life that you wish to change in some way. Bring your full attention to improving, resolving, or harmonizing this area. My power lies in focus. Probably your energies are too distracted and spread out for deep change to take place. Now you'll see the power of perseverance when you apply your energy to a single issue. Put aside all other concerns while you focus on the one you've chosen. Put aside all other distractions. Let all other symbols or creatures fade out of focus except for me. This is a real focusing energy. For deep change, time is also needed. Biological change needs time, usually a minimum of 9 months. Isn't that funny that we're doing 9 months of calls? From this summer, we're going to do a 9-month set of calls, Rosy, myself, and Sally and the Dream Arc community, to give birth to this. So it's beautiful. Mental change is subtler and can be swifter. Begin, therefore, with the mental plane. Let new thought patterns begin to swirl around the issue. We mentioned the issue just now. What's the biggest issue in your life? Then let the new shoots drive out the old. Create a template for change. That's what the dream arc is. It's creating a template. That's what the life web is, a template for change in your life. Organize things to support this process. That's exactly what it's asking. You may need to inform people around you that your behavior or habits may be changing too. It's important not to rush this. I am a gentle creature. Let my strength and love fill you as you move into this period. Perhaps bring me into your home in some way. Again, dream arc, bring it into your home in some way. Imprint the power of it in your life. I may as well read to the end. Well, I'm one of the few creatures with a single horn. This has given rise to a rich mythology in your cultures. Of course, there's magic in my horn. It gives me the power of great focus. This is the power of the dream arc. It has magical focus. I offer this power to you now. You alone I have chosen because you are ready. All 483 of you or whoever's watching this in the rest of, time space continuum, now you watching this, listening to this, he's chosen you, or she, this creature has chosen you and is pulling you in to this orbit. Allow change to come gently, therefore, in its own timing. Don't worry if you have some challenging days. That's natural. Those days will become fewer and fewer as the power of deep change sets in. True change is about imprinting the physical body in its biology. You're going to learn the true meaning of deep contemplation. Again, that's what the dream arc's all about, deep contemplation, which brings great breakthroughs when done with consistency and love. Finally, dedicate your change to the service of something higher than yourself. This is the most important thing of all. Isn't that true of the dream arc, Rosy, Sally?
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about empathy. It's here to connect us with each other, with nature, with the creatures around us. If we're just doing a course for entertainment, that's nice, but might as well just watch Netflix. This is about taking us outside of our little orbit or our silo and extending our heart and our love and our service in some new way into the world, new way, changes, to offer this effort to a higher service for the sake of all beings. In time, you'll feel sweeping states of gratitude growing within you for this great gift you have given yourself. So I want to invite you, give yourself the gift of the dream arc. It's an awesome thing that we're sharing with you, and we'd love you to join us. I know we're over the hour, but Rosy's going to share a really sweet clip with you.
Yes. Oh my God. I am so moved by Rhino.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Such a gentle creature, so gentle, and gentleness being one of our core, foundations.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so yes, we're just a few minutes late, but we're not, it could be a lot worse. I'll say that much. So before we make space for questions, we do want to share a short but powerful message from one of the Dream Arc's guest wisdom keepers. Mbali, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Mbali Marais lives in South Africa. She's a global medicine woman and initiated stick diviner in the Dagara tradition. She's a descendant of the Khoikhoi female healer, confirmed by Credo Mutwa, and an indigenous healer in the Khaosa tradition. And this is just a 4-minute video, but it is, it brings us to tears when we watch it, and we hope that you are moved by her wisdom as we've been. So Lena, you wanna, yeah, thank you.
I feel that the work that is very, very significant has come via the earth speaking and us and being called to listen. That feels like the biggest message at this time. And and I don't want to go back into the pandemic, but the pandemic was an opportunity for us to slow down. But I also felt that the pandemic was the earth speaking very loudly. It could have been anything. It could have been a tsunami or a volcano or a flood or an earthquake, but it wasn't. It was the pandemic. And in the middle of all of that, something very, very powerful, magical, and significant happened. And then it was exacerbated by the murder of George Floyd, who called Mama and said, "I can't breathe." And when I heard that, I heard the call to all mothers, to the great mothers, because it was a deep reflection of our earth at that time, that we can't breathe. And that has sat with me and it's resonated with me. And it's like he's here, he talks to me, not in a wacky way, but that those words have stayed with me. And then, of course, the resurgence when he came back in the trial. And I feel that those words were a call to all of us to listen to the earth, to listen to the land. You started out your conversation by saying it's very powerful here. The land is very powerful here. Yeah, it is. But the land is actually very powerful everywhere, depending on how much we have abused it. The more that we have misused the land, the less the vibration is. So we have to return to listening to the vibration of the land and what it is that it is asking for and what it is that it is saying. When we listen to the land, we are listening to the stories of all of our ancestors, all of those who have gone before. Because the land has become, it is our place of belonging. It's our home. It's our place of self-worth. It's our place of worthiness. And the only currency worth having at this moment in time is self-worth. And it threads through everything and everyone. Self-worth. Through lineages, through legacies, through heritage, through culture, through traditions. So for me, listening to the earth, listening to the land, to what the animals are saying, will bring us back to some kind of center, will reunite us all to some kind of center, if we listen and then take action.
Always like brings a tear to my eyes that she's such, you know, it was such a thing when I discovered her in this program, because I started watching it and I thought, who's this strange British accent woman? And she seemed quite a little bit sort of, you know, her stature, and I was like, right, conservative. And then I started to listen to her, and I think that's the end of like a 40-minute or a half an hour monologue, you know, she gave with Rosy, and it just felt my heart open more and more and more and more to hear these ancestral voices speaking. And they really impregnate this program. We've really invited them in, and not just the ones that we've interviewed, but the ones that, you know, are already passed away and they're inside us and they're part of our lineage. And so the dream arc really, it's an extraordinary journey. You know, there's nothing like it. I've never done anything like it. It's as big as the Gene Keys is, and it's a part of the Gene Keys, but it's as big. You know, it's as big as the Golden Path. It will grow. It will grow. It'll go on growing. It'll gather its own momentum. It'll, like the rhinos, just slow, steady, persevering, gentle momentum. And it will become, you know, there are already people in the here probably in the course saying, we have to get this into schools. We have to get that, you know, because it's a village, and the world's a village, and it's bigger than any of us can sort of talk about or explain. It's not the online course. That's just the way that brings us together. That's the thing that gives us that self-worth. That's what brings us, and it brings the feminine back in so many ways. You know, that's why I keep going on about the right brain, because it's bringing the feminine back. It's bringing the, you know, the intuition back. It's listening to the earth and then acting on what we hear, as Mbali said so beautifully. So I'm just like floored by that, and I'm just honored to be in service personally through this program to bringing the feminine energy back into this world, to balance the imbalance of the masculine, of the patriarchy, of the left brain, of, you know, all of that. Because that's really, you know, I don't know a single person who doesn't need that. I have not met one, you know, who doesn't need more balance to the linear left brain. Maybe there's some indigenous people, I'm sure there are in the world, who live a very balanced, harmonic way. But, we really need this balance of, right now, of the intuitive, to balance out the scientific, to balance out, all those questions and lines and sharp edges that we have in our lives. So I really, I'm sorry, I'm just going, but I just want to really invite people, like, this is the thing you have to do. You can't, we've done our best to show you, but like, you just got to jump in, find a way, beg, borrow, maybe don't steal, but just find a way to do this thing, because it's going to do the things that we've talked about. Change going to bring change, and we need to change ourselves to be ready for what's coming, for the change that's all around us. Yeah, you'll find that also deeply in here. You'll find the message of the times embedded, encoded in the categories, in so many messages over and over again. Yeah, so it's very empowering. Thank you. I wasn't planning on saying all that, but Mbali's fault.
Thank you, Richard. That was so beautiful. And I just want to bow to Mbali. I've known her for many years, and I just have so much love and respect for her. So it's a great honor for me to witness other people experiencing her in the way that I have. Yes. So, okay. So we have to switch gears a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to just okay, if you need to go now, we've done everything we can. But if you want to stay and hang out for Q&A, we're going to just roll on and linger a little bit and have a bit more of a chat. And you can put your questions right in the chat, and we'll do our best between us to answer them. And they can be anything, from practical to, anything.
Yeah, and I want to say, if you do stay for that final half hour, then we are going to share a dream tale for anybody who wants to stay. It gives you incentive to hang around. And in terms of the questions, it would be good to ask questions that are as broad as possible, like the kind that would likely be helpful to more than one person. And then, of course, we'll cover as much as we can. If you have questions we don't get to today, there is an FAQ section on the genekeys.com website, as well as a great support team at Gene Keys Publishing, which will help with technical questions. And then, of course, there's the amazing forum inside of the course, which is a great place to get your feet wet and connect with people and learn about how it all works. So,
yeah, and just say, if you do need, sorry, Rosie, if you do need to go, then come back and watch this replay, because it's usually when we take our guard down and we relax, and then we sort of stop the thing, that all the interesting kind of things get, all those holes that you didn't get plugged. That, so it's yeah. Very
good point. So so start putting your questions in the chat, and we'll do what we can. So I'm going to pull my chat a little closer to me.
Yeah. So knowing me, we don't know the times and days of the calls yet, but they'll be starting in the summer, and we're going to just respond to what is needed. That's all I can say at the moment.
Richard, do you want to share why you chose ARC with a C instead of K?
Oh, well, it's a play, isn't it? It's a word play. You know me, I'm a wordsmith, so I like word plays. It's ARC because you learn that when you come in the course, because you follow an arc through the course. It's not a straight line. Nothing, it's the intuition is always an arc. It's always a curve. It's the feminine is the curve. Life never gets back to the same place. But also there's a double entendre, of course. It's the arc with full of animals. So, and the Ark of the Covenant, as you said.
Carol was asking a question here about how long you can be in the course. So I think it's really clear that when you buy the course, you have it for life. So you can spend as much time as you like in any of the categories. And, once you've been around once, you can easily go around again and have a totally different experience. It's a bit like doing a world tour. I think I say that somewhere. You tour once and then you just want to go back to all the places you didn't visit the first time. So I hope that's clear.
Yeah, I'm going to answer Margaret's question about, I'm in the Venus sequence, does it make sense to start this at the same time? I'm a lover because this is right brain. Okay. So if you're working the right brain, you can do lots of things at the same time because, your right brain, your logical brain doesn't need to be as involved. So the dream arc is quite happily going to sit with anything else you're doing because it just bubbles up when needed, and it creates a frame of reference. So I'm right now in the messengers category, my first category. I've left the guardians, done that whole ritual thing. I've started my journey and I'm in the messengers, and I've been in there for a month, and I've got my creature. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's still kind of in me. I'll publish something on it when it feels right. But, and it's working inside me. It's just at work, and life is going on. And until it's done and I'm done with that lesson and that category, I can't tell, but I'm doing loads of other things at the same time. It's just sitting there in the background. Anyway, gives you some idea. Yes. So yes, if you're like working the right brain, you can do loads and loads of things at the same time.
Richard, I just want to say someone has asked about scholarships. And I know that Elijah has responded in the chat, but maybe you want to say something about that, or you too, Sally.
Sally, do you want to answer that? No. Well, just that we have scholarships and we have a wonderful scholarship team. And if you feel financially stretched, then you can apply for a scholarship. And it's not just like you create a connection with them and they get to know you. And then, we do our very best to really help people who are, financially challenged.
And something also that's come up, some people have talked about wanting to do this in small groups, like doing it with a family member or a friend or a small group or even colleagues, and which we really, really encourage people to do, because even though our unique journeys are different, we're kind of doing it together, and to be able to have people that are in our local communities or online communities that we can really share with in an intimate way will really, really amplify the process for you. So although at the same time, when you do sign up, the process inside the course is very individualized. So it tracks where you go, and the animals are your animals, and there are places for taking notes. So we encourage people to sign up individually and then do it together. But if you have a group of people who wants to do it together, we encourage you to contact the scholarship team and just let them know. Say, I've got a group of people that would like to do this together. And who knows, over time, as we figure this out, we've just launched now, so we're still working out a lot of details. They may be able to work something out for you inside the scholarship fund.
There's a question about, thank you, Elijah, for answering that question. You don't need to have any knowledge of the gene keys to do this.
No.
In fact, we've designed it that way so that it can have a different kind of appeal and draw in. And I'm sure that already in the course, we know there's a good sized group of people who are not into the gene keys or haven't done them. And we're also asking, by the way, that in the forums and everything, that people, realize that this isn't the gene keys. And so, be aware of that there are people here who don't know that language, and there'll probably eventually be a lot more of them than there are gene keys people. So it's designed in that way to kind of reach everyone, and it has, if you are into gene keys, it has very obvious kind of really deep associations and secret little things that you learn and and you can share with your gene keys friends, and because you're on another track with it. So yeah, all kinds of synchronicities abound.
Richard, do you want to say something about animals that are not in the codex?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, like we're like, it's the whole program is completely flexible. It's it's right brain, so there can't be fixed things. It's not the same as the gene keys in that way. There's like this and this and this. This is like it's like a kind of jelly. It's molded. You mold it to fit you. So if something in the codex doesn't fit where the meaning doesn't feel right for you, and you have another meaning or another gene key you feel it's more strongly connected to, if you're into the gene keys, then go with that intuition. And the same with the codex. There's a lot, we've only done some creatures of the sort of ones that have the biggest mythologies or lineages, or in most cases, but there are some that are left out. Like there's some obvious ones that I kind of feel like, oh, I left out the platypus, you know, like it's one of my favorites. And you know, if you're drawn to one of those, then you have to find a place and a meaning for it within the codex in your own way. So you then get to write that and explore that and share that and go, wow, this is what this, you know, this is a whole new one. And then you can add it, and then others can, like, you know, enjoy that as well. So we've got a lot of room for maneuver, and that's built in, that kind of flexibility.
I just want to say one thing to someone who said they're not a big dreamer. That's totally fine. You do not have to be a big dreamer, as we normally think about dreamers, to enjoy the dream arc. First of all, life is a dream. It's all dream. It's all imagination, intuition. It's happening all the time. The dream arc, and Richard describes this so beautifully, is all about connecting the realms. And we give lots of tips, lots of invitations that really help to activate our connection to dreams. It's very practical in that way. And every person that I know who has started to dive into the dream arc is suddenly remembering their dreams. People who never remembered their dreams before. Even my daughter's boyfriend, who was not doing the dream arc, is remembering his dreams more. So there is some energy here. You will get lots of support, and you will also get support in understanding that the dream time is all the time.
It is truly extraordinary that, you know, people, it's coming in thick and fast, those people that, you know, never dreamed of animals, and suddenly animals are filling their dreams. There was a great question I saw. I remember it now.
I know there's.
Oh yeah. Someone's saying, should I do this or the golden path? And I'd just ask an animal, you know, do that little exercise that we did, you know, do something like that, do so that you take your left brain out of it, you know, out of the pain of that decision, and just let the right brain make that decision. This is what the dream arc's about. It can save us so much hassle and worry in our lives. If we got that right brain intuitive part of us really dialed, then it just takes a lot of the kind of angst out of our lives, you know, because we're following this arc throughout our whole lives. We've been on it forever. The intuition is just awesome. It's the most powerful spiritual gift that lies inside us. You know, take us all the way to enlightenment, literally.
So I'm just aware of the time. Sally, Richard, what do you think we should do? We did want to give people who are in the course a chance to share. Do you want to say something about that, Richard?
Yes. Yes. If there are people here who are in the dream arc right now, you know, for a bit of fun, like you're in it, you've been playing in it, like, would you like to share with us, maybe like in a phrase, what you're experiencing? Not too long, not longer than a line, maybe a few words. Like, how is it? We'd like to know, how is it for you being in the dream arc? What are you feeling? Please share with us. I'm fascinated to know. It's just gonna go all quiet because there's no one.
We can share what we're experiencing.
Yeah.
We can start with us. I know. Someone just say something. Oh, someone's very connected to the gene keys.
Yeah.
A direct connection with the divine. I bet Carl Jung would love this. Carl Jung was a big inspiration here, for sure.
He gets referenced quite often.
Yeah.
Brings me to the computer, encourages me off the computer.
Oh, no. Non-linear.
Loving connection.
Most amazing adventure I've ever been in.
Authentic stillness in the present moment that brings forth an eruption of creativity. I think I know who that is. Shane is just on a huge creative explosion. You know, that it's very inspiring witnessing people in the dream arc.
Absolutely. the dream arc has opened up a new awareness of life and how life is truly an uncharted path that must be allowed, accepted, and embraced.
One with Gaia, crocodile brother.
Hope, joy,
Yeah.
and
Thanks,
magic.
Randy. You know, it really is an exercise for our inner child, you know, and it's kind of, you know, we think like, oh, inner child work, you know, we've done all that in the 1980s, you know, but it's like, can you ever do too much of that? Like, isn't that what the world really needs again when it's got really serious? Don't we need some of that vibrant energy in our lives again? I do.
I just got a little message from my daughter saying it makes her more present and it brings more fun into her everyday life.
Oh, thanks, Maya.
Never too much playtime. We so need this. Birds and nature watching, so many birds nesting and looking after their hatchling.
You know, I also hope, like for me, I recorded a video recently, like it's connected me much more to where I live, you know, to the place where I live, because I've started to look much more deeply into the natural world around me. So I hope other people are getting that as well.
So this is so beautiful. These are beautiful shares, and it's so heartening to hear how the dream arc is touching, inspiring, and empowering people already. And we just kind of softly launched. So we've just begun. Just to honor the time, it's time for us to be wrapping up. So if you need to go now, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for staying all the way through. We're so glad you're here and totally encourage you to join our growing Dream Arc Village. Even if the timing isn't right just yet, we hope that our time together has just inspired you to connect more deeply with yourself, your intuition, the animal world, the natural world, and your own magical journey. And as promised, we're soon going to play one dream tale for those of you who can stay for an extra few minutes. But if you want to leave, we want to wish you a great day, night, wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much. And is there anything you want to share or add, Richard or Sally, before we play the dream tale?
Sally?
No, just thank you, everybody. It's really been a thrilling evening for me, and it's just wonderful to see all the feedback from everybody and the questions. Yeah, so just really enjoying. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting everybody through the community calls, you know, as we begin to launch them in the summer. Yeah. Thank you.
And you know, as I said, just, you know, one of the most fun ways you can do this is to find someone else who you love, or a couple of friends, and say, come on, should we do this together? And I promise you, I'm not saying that because I want to sell more courses. I mean, I would like to, but it's like, it's to be shared. It's an experience to be shared. And because the stories that come out as we're on our own separate arcs over the next year or so, at least, since you're in it, they're magical, and they need to be shared with each other. You can share them within the community, but if you can think of someone, you know, who you love, who's up for an adventure, I'd say talk them into it. And yeah.
Can I just add one thing to that? Because earlier you said, Richard, that this is about really preparing ourselves for an inner change and preparing ourselves for the big change happening in the world. And it's also about preparing ourselves as a collective to influence the change that happens on the wider collective field. And so we're in this together, everybody, and we're going to need each other more than ever. So this is one example. This is one beautiful place where you can belong and start to cross-pollinate with people who have a similar big heart that you have. And together, maybe we can actually do some good together. So
yeah, and it's such a great message, Rosie. And I'm going to say also, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, because the Dream Arc is new and it's growing, we have no idea where it's going to go, but we feel its generosity. And so who knows what happens if you get really deeply involved in it, where you might take it and how it might become a part of your life, your job, your career, you know, whatever, wherever you take it, you know, you can adapt it, you can play with it, you can be the person that extends it and kind of adds more layers to it. And, you know, so it could, who knows where it could go in all of us as we kind of journey with it. No limits.
No limits. So are we ready to share the dream tale by
Yeah.
Rona Renner?
Yeah.
Rona Renner, she's a dear friend of mine and a wisdom keeper in her own right. And she has chosen one of our guardians, one of our 12 guardians. So,
yeah. And before it goes, I just want to say thank you to
Yeah.
Lena, who's our invisible
Yes.
host. Thank you so much, Lena.
Thank you so
You know,
much.
and for the entire team, you know, in Gene Keys HQ for just supporting us so brilliantly throughout the whole last couple of years, and for all of the work everybody's done. Like, we'd never be here without everyone, for sure.
So true.
Big, huge thank you to everybody that's listening and watching.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. See.
Elena, are you sharing this? Or is, oh yeah, great.
Oh yeah, here it comes.
Perfect.
My name is Rona. I've never been drawn to turtles. I saw some, my friend had some, but there was never a heart connection for me. And then one day I took a class. It was with a shaman, and she helped us go to the upper world and the lower world, and we were to find our spirit animal as a guide. And so, lo and behold, I went to the lower world, and there was a sea turtle. It was this big, beautiful sea turtle. And he said, "Come on, I'll give you a ride." And I got on his back, and he took me all through the sea and the underworld and talked to me to help me and pass on some of his wisdom. You know, turtles, I think, in some way represent the fact that everything we need and everything we bring to the world is inside us. It's not external. We carry it with us, and it's not limited to time or space. And this turtle really taught me that I needed to have a little bit more of a hard shell, that I could work on boundaries and also protection, because I am by nature a people pleaser. The turtle showed me that, in fact, it was important to have a bit of a shell, a strong shell, to protect that soft side of me, that underside of me, that precious part of me. And the turtle also helped me see that I needed to slow down, that although I was a doer and I'd been a nurse for 50 years and I like to help people, part of fulfilling my purpose was also to slow down and really feel that softness in me and connect with it. So I was very grateful to this spirit guide. And after that, people started giving me all these beautiful turtle figurines to put on my shelf. I have a whole collection now. And I still feel so drawn to the turtle energy and know that I have longevity, that I will go and walk in this world and be protected while at the same time being soft like my turtle guide. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. I hadn't seen that one before. There's so many of them, you know, they're so
We have so
sweet.
many.
They're just so inspiring and sweet. Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. We can linger for like 2 or 3 minutes. And yeah, enjoy the afterglow.
Thank you for all of you who've stayed the whole time. Oh, Pam. Hello, Pam.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Elijah.
Yeah, thanks, Elijah. And remember your animals that you got today.
Yeah.
You know, like take them with you and contemplate them and really think about like why that creature came and what its gift to you might be, how it can help you. What would it do? Yeah. So big thank you and goodbye from us. We hope to see you in the Dream Arc and join us when you feel ready. And yeah, exploring the oceans of the unknown together. Yeah,
I'm remembering one question, Richard. I'm so sorry. Someone asked if there'd be a Deccan book. And that's in the plan. But right now, everything that would go in that Deccan book is in the Dream Arc. The whole codex is in there. All the animals are in there, and there are ways to work with them physically. So it is coming, and we'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to answer that question.
Okay.